So a neutron walks into a bar and he asks the bartender, how much would it be to get a drink? And the bartender responds, for you, no charge. I feel like these nails enhance my playing. Can I do my Bruno Mars easily? It's not any easier. Why am I wasting time doing that? So for those of you who don't know, I own a notepad. And on that notepad is a kitten wearing sunglasses. Yeah, my grandma got this for me, so just, you can, if you're trying to judge me about it, I didn't do this. It was, and pretty much what this is my small little idea book. So okay, there's like none in the back, but I have all of my video ideas in this notepad with a cat on it. And the top note thing, a bob, that I have in this notebook prior to tearing it out is a rant type discussion about movie adaptations. And I have a ton of things to say about this because I'm extremely picky when it comes to dealing with movies that they make out of my favorite books. Because 2014 is going to be a huge year for all of my books that are becoming movies. There's going to be Divergent, The Maze Runner, The Book Thief, Mockingjay, oh my gosh, that's only in a year. The Fault in Our Stars, possibly, that's just terrifies me. They're making an Obsidian movie, all this, so many books are coming out to movies, and I figured I might as well just start talking about things that I do and don't like in movie adaptations. So here we go. Just a disclaimer, I know a ton of people will disagree with me. That's fine if you want to let me know about it in a comment. However, if you get kind of sassy, we're gonna have a problem. Now, whenever I sit down to watch an adaptation of my favorite movie, or if I'm ever creeping on the movie if it's not out yet, the first thing that I focus my attention on is the character casting. And this is probably the most obvious choice because obviously, use obviously twice in a sentence, Whitney, go ahead. The character I have in my mind is being portrayed by someone who is obviously not that character. And inevitably, I'm gonna want that actor or actress to be as pristine as possible. And I've kind of trained myself to not care too much appearance-wise because there is a ton of things that you can do to change appearance. So I've had to make myself be able to endure characters that don't look as if I imagined them in my head, because if I end up having that mindset with every book that becomes a movie, I'm never ever gonna be happy with the casting. So once I push aside the initial factor of they're not going to look how you thought they were going to look, then I go on to things that are a bit more complex. Usually I'll do my research and be like, have I heard of you before? What else are you in? This is typically actors and actresses that I haven't heard of, such as Ansel Elgort for Augustus. I think Divergent is his first legitimate movie, which is scary because he's Augustus. That's terrifying to me. So I was creeping so hard. I was trying to find something of him talking. I wanted to hear the voice of Augustus Waters. And finally, he has an Instagram video of him. It's totally random. It's just him being like, thank you for 10,000 followers or something like that. But I burst into tears listening to it because that's the voice of my favorite character, or one of them. So if the character looks fine and performs fine, but they talk like they just sucked helium from a balloon, then that completely takes away from their appearance. Because after all, most of the book is dialogue, so a lot of the movie is gonna be talking from these characters, and if they have the wrong voice for it. Good example, Wanda from The Host. She had a very southern accent whenever she was playing Melanie, which is not something that I had imagined from the book because I knew she was from Louisiana, but I never connected 1 + 1 to realize, wow, she's from the South, she probably has an accent. So hearing that, I was like, oh yeah, and it was kind of cool. And then Wanda being so robotic when she talks, and she's like, call me Wanderer. I loved that because I imagine those, because in my head it doesn't have that dynamic of a voice, so that was a fantastic example of voicing of a character. And lastly, for characters, they have to be able to perform right. If we're doing this action-y chase scene and people are shooting people and things are happening, they can't look like they're just like flopping around as they run. That's not gonna cut it. If the character in the book is fit, that obviously is more of an appearance. However, the person has to look like they've been running from the cops all their life if they're a character that's been running from the cops all their life. I have nothing much else to say about this category because it does kind of become self-explanatory, but once again, they have to be molded into the character that the fan base thinks they are. Next is the setting of the movie, which I tend to wish that they film in the places the books took place. I don't want to keep making references to The Fault in Our Stars, but they aren't filming in Indianapolis, which kind of upset me. There's no word if they're filming in Amsterdam. If there is, someone better tell me. But I'm gonna be really upset if they don't go to Amsterdam, because how could you do a movie with canals and beautiful things and people speaking Dutch and it's just a green screen? That would be a disappointment. So my first point out of setting is accuracy, which is kind of what I was just talking about. But basically, if they're gonna go and picnic, I don't even care, let's just do The Fault in Our Stars references this whole video. If they're gonna go picnic in the Vondelpark, please film the movie in the Vondelpark. I mean, there's nothing much else to say. It might cost money. It might be a pain flying all those miles just to get like 20 scenes. Come on. There are millions of fans of this book. This is a huge movie because the fan base is going to go see it, and the fan base alone will sell out theaters. Don't do it in the lazy way. And I know lazy and expensive are two completely separate things, but I just beg of you, if there's an actual legitimate location that a book takes place at, is it so hard to go to that place and film? That's all I really want. And I understand money, and you might not get like copyright to film there and all that different kind of stuff, but ideally, please at least make it similar. Don't change the location if you can't get the exact one. I mean, come on. This is more for fantasy type novels, but a setting has to live up to my expectations. If there's a fanatical type scene where, I don't even know how to explain this, like the meadow scene in Twilight, that was a obviously fictional scene, but it was a type of fictional where it was very a vivid meadow. It was not your typical meadow. I don't even know how to describe it, but don't go out and find a tiny little meadow with like 5 flowers. In the first movie they used a golf field and put in fake flower. No. In the book it was so magnificent and the sunlight was so beautiful and it was just amazing, but in the book we get like fake flowers and like green. My next point is the actual plot of the movie, and this is something I could probably talk about forever, so I'm going to try and keep this short. My biggest deal with the plot is that it has to be accurate. The main thing I look for in a movie is that it sticks close to the book. For example, The Hunger Games could possibly never stray too far because you can't have someone live that didn't die in the book. That would just be pointless to all the fans. So The Hunger Games, I think, was the most accurate plot-wise. And also, if the fan base has a scene that they love and they post it to all of their social media the quotes from, and they just can't get over this one scene because it was so cute and so action-y or whatever it is, put the scene in the movie. I know that people run out of time and it might not be relevant in the story, but I'm gonna be honest with you. In Breaking Dawn Part 2, I was praying they were gonna put in the scene where they're telling Charlie that Bella and him are getting married, and he like starts exploding like, "You're pregnant!" And I just so badly wanted to see that, and they didn't put it in the movie, so that was very upsetting, which doesn't necessarily detract from the plot at all. However, I would have loved to see that. I know a ton of fans love that scene. They can't make everyone happy, but it's just something personally, if they put in a scene I like, then the movie becomes instantly better. And my number one pet peeve with movies is whenever the director does something along the lines of, we're gonna cut out this part of the movie that's an actual scene from the book to make room for another scene that wasn't in the book. Stop. Stop. We don't need that other scene. I don't care how it benefits your movie. If you're gonna take away time from a scene from the book that I loved, like, for example, Percy Jackson. I'm sure everyone here could agree that Percy Jackson sucked 100%. But why would you just do something else when you could have had it all? Before it become impossibly incoherent, I'm just gonna end this video right now. So, with these two cards done and talked about, they are officially... That was the most pathetic tear ever. Thank you for listening to my rant. If you agree with any of my points, I'd love to hear from you in a comment. Say goodbye, kitten. Meow. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.